Hi, I'm Dave, welcome to the channel. In this video I'm going to build the Magnetic Racing Goodwood TV Tower kit, although it might end up being the Track Fans TV Tower kit. So let's get straight into it then. This kit, I've modified it. We're definitely doing Track Fans TV. It is the 039 TV Track Fans TV Tower. Obviously, tools you're going to need, as always, a file, a razor blade, and be careful, some super glue, and of course the fuel of the gods, a nice cup of coffee in a magnetic racing cup. Now, I never print out the instructions, but for this one I have actually printed out the instructions, mainly because I need to know how it goes together so that I can not put it together that way. We'll get to that later. So looking at this kit, I think there was 6 sheets. So it's kind of roof bits, these are wall bits and some ladders. Here's some other wall bits. They kind of make the main structure of it. It's just a square wooden box, really. Here's a load of stuff for the kind of scaffold legs that the tower sits on. It does look quite precarious. I mean, it's based on a real one, which must have been quite precarious. And then there's a few sponsor signs there, but we're probably not going to use them. We'll probably use them the other way round. So of course, get all the bits out of all of the sheets that they come on. You get a few extra spares, especially of the little thin spindly bits, which is always good. And now I've done as I always do and sort of broken these things down into some work tasks. So those 3 piles are the kind of outside structure. That's the roof, that's the scaffold legs. And then this is the cladding and the window sills. So they're my kind of tasks, and I'll do them vaguely in that order. You can see I've kind of bit of magic of television. I've sprayed all the kind of main structure white, and I did the window sills grey and the window frames grey. A fairly straightforward bit of masking tape, and it's white primer and grey primer. And I've used my favourite varnish just to varnish the floors, because I kind of like that shiny varnished floor effect. It might be a theme through all of my models, you never know. So we'll get stuck in here and build the basics of the box. Of course, using a square to make sure everything does stay square, or at least fairly square. Once you've clicked all the kit together, it kind of squares itself up anyway, because it's that accurate. So, yeah. There's 2 sides and the middle floor, and then we'll put the 3rd side on. And I've kind of played about with this and put a couple of bits on backwards, because there's a reason why I don't want the big hole that's not got windows on that top floor to be at the front. There's just little roof bars that will eventually hold the roof on. And I'll put the bottom floor on as well. So I've got 3 sides of the box, and I've put just some foil tape on the ceilings of both floors. This is a TV tower. They're going to be TV studios, so any lighting I put in there needs to be quite bright. So as nobody's going to look up at the ceiling, I thought I might as well make it shiny. That will help. And now I'll put the roof on as well. So we've got 5 of the 6 sides of a sort of cube with a middle floor in. And you'll see I've made a little hole there. I'm going to get some wires out of there at some point. And to light these TV studios, I've just got some standard LEDs, like the ones I used in the container cafe, and I've sprayed them with white primer, masked the ends off so they still shine through, but sprayed them with white primer just to kind of make them fit in a bit better. You know, I mean, you'd use white trunking if you were putting wires in. You wouldn't just have red and black stuff, so that's what I'm trying to achieve. And as you can see, 4 LEDs on each floor, all the wires kind of routed back and out of 2 holes there. And as with all of these things, all you need to do in the end is join all the red ones and all the black ones together and attach them to a battery. But we'll get to that later. So I did say it was going to be TrackFans TV, and the top floor will be TrackFans TV. And obviously Pete has a desk with a computer on it and a chair, and there's my little Pete. And I've upgraded him because he always has trouble with his sound, because his batteries on things go flat, and he always has trouble with his camera because it overheats and all that sort of thing. So I've got him a proper camera and a proper cameraman and a sound man boom operator. So all Pete has to do is be Pete, and the sound and the vision will get sorted out by his new super upgraded sound and vision crew. And we need some logos as well, so over to the printer, and we've got a few TrackFans TV's logos. The first of which is what you'll probably recognise as that backing board that's behind Pete when he does his live streams from the den. I have to say thank you to Pete's dad for sending me a high-res copy of that picture so that I could print it out and use it for this. And also, quite famously I suppose, next to Pete's desk are Pete's shelves, which are always covered in piles of crap. So we're going to create some of those. So what I'm using are the 2 pieces of infill panel, the bits that I had to take out of the kit that make that kind of opening that was at the back that I mentioned before that had no windows. So I'm using those, and I'm going to fill the space back in again. So there's my 2 shelves. Here's just a few small pieces of wood that I've just chopped into rough shapes and sprayed variously with colours, just so they're all different, nothing clever. And now we're going to fill Pete's shelves up with messy piles of stuff like Pete has on his shelves. There we are. Messy shelves, boxes of stuff, maybe they're books, who knows. They're very small, who's going to care? So now all I'm going to do is re-glue the infill pieces back in. So close off that corner opening. So that's Pete's shelves. That's the other piece to fill in the other bit of the back corner. And now getting that little printed out piece from before, a little bit of my favourite Pritt Stick glue stick just to hold it in place. And there we are, so that's kind of the shelves and the backdrop. That'll probably start looking familiar to you if you watch TrackFans TV Sunday Slotcast sessions. I hope so anyway. So now of course Pete's desk, which has usually also got stuff all over it, so I've got a few more bits of wood that I didn't use on the shelves. And I think we'll just make a bit of a mess with Pete's desk. Untidy it quite a bit. So once again, little bit of wood, random colours painted on them, bit of super glue, and just stick them on these desks. These desks are 3D printed. I'll put a link in the description of this video as to where I got them from and everything. As is the little computer and the monitor and the tiny little mouse. So there we are, there's a desk with more piles of junk on it. Because Pete, you're untidy. I'll stick the desk and the chair and the Pete in, and his production crew. And there we are. I've kind of slightly gone off the corner of the picture there because I wasn't really looking at the camera. But you get the idea. There's Pete doing Track Fans TV, Sunday slot car sessions every Sunday morning from something silly like 7 AM UK time on YouTube live. There you are, Pete, I did you an advert. Now, I mentioned this in one of my community posts. This is Channel 9 News. If you're not of a certain age and from the UK and watch the Fast Show, you probably haven't got a clue what this is. So if you go to my community posts, you'll find Channel 9 News, the Fast Show. Have a look. And here's Paola. She's the weather lady. So I'm going to try and create that on the other floor of the Track Fans TV Tower. So I've done a bit of a dug and got my own bits of his kit and made my own desk. Just by cutting it up and sanding bits into shape. And I'll stick those together in the usual way with a square to make sure everything is square. And I think I've managed to build up roughly the right shape. And I've got some beige men on some beige chairs that I painted. So they'll sit behind that desk. And now we need to make some of their backdrop. You would have noticed they had kind of rectangles with lines behind them and a big 9 and various bits of logos. So I'm going to start by putting that together. So these are the two back pieces with the big 9 logo in the middle between the two presenters as per the picture. And they each sat in front of this funny little sort of rectangular piece of backdrop each. So I've made some of those. And I just printed out some more of the beige colour with the laser printer. And I'm just going to kind of wallpaper the desk I made. And I did make up some proper Channel 9 News logos. And put those on the front. So that should be... It's a little bit crude, but you get the idea. It's going to be inside the tower in the corner of my circuit. Nobody's going to look at it as closely as you're looking at it now, but there we are. And there's Paola with the weather, and there's their film guy. And so that is my interpretation of the Channel 9 News studio, which I've got to put in there now. It's at this point I had an awful lot of admiration for people who managed to put ships into bottles, because as you'll see, it's not the easiest thing in the world getting all of this lot in there. There's quite a lot of fiddling about because I've got massive hands and it was a tiny space. But there we are. So there is Channel 9 News. And of course, round the side, Meteorologicus Midpolar. And of course, Pete's at the top doing Track Fans TV. So I think that's quite a good use of 2 floors of a TV tower, really. And we just got to button that up, put the 6th side of that cube on. And then add the final bits of outside cladding. Now, I've deliberately put the bits of cladding on sort of the wrong way round, and I'll explain why. When I've run all of these wires together, and I've just joined all the reds and all the blacks and heat shrunk them down, I've put it together so that there's an oversail on the back of that back corner, and you can't see the wires. And there we are. There's a bit of a test light up. You can see it is kind of quite a bright white TV studio light in there with the LEDs and the silvered ceilings. And now what I've got to do is put the outside sponsor banners, for want of a better word for them, on the tower. And of course, build the scaffolding. So there might be a little bit of magic of television here. Here we are. There's the scaffolding platform that the tower sits on. I kind of used some extra bits and strengthened it up because I've put a lot of extra weight in there that probably Magnetic Racing didn't envisage when they structured the tower. And pop the ladders on. I mean, Mrs. Slottar and I both agreed if this was real, we wouldn't be climbing up that ladder, but nonetheless, we'll let Pete climb up it. I'm sure he's mad enough. And I've added a couple of supports across the bottoms of the ladders just because it makes it less fragile when you're moving it about. And so, there we are. That's kind of done. I mean, we've managed to go through this in 17 minutes. Honestly, it took weeks, but I love it. So here we are on the turntable, and there's Pete at the top doing his Sunday slot car sessions for Track Fans TV. The logo around the side is the one he's got on his t-shirts that he's wearing at the moment. You can buy those off his merch site. The LEDs are wired up in exactly the same way as they were for the container cafe. So if you want to get more detail on that, I'm not going to repeat myself over and over. Go and watch the container cafe video and you'll see what I've done. There's just more of them, and I've heat shrinked all the wires together. And the Channel 9 News around the outside of the lower floor. And of course, there's the guys, and of course, with moustaches. And there is Paula doing Meteorologicus. And there is the whole thing, all lit up, all working. Most of the wires fairly well disguised, and actually that back corner is going to be furthermost from everybody's vision when it's on my layout, so it's fine like that. Pretty much the view everybody's going to get is from about this angle. So it works out nicely. It's planned so that everything's looking outwards. There's Pete doing the Track Fans TV Sunday slot car sessions. And there is Channel 9 News. And once more, Meteorologicus Midpolar. So there we are. Thanks for watching one of my videos once again. If you liked it, you will find a button specifically for that. If you subscribe to the channel, that really does help, and if you hit the bell, you'll get a notification the next time I post a video. And of course, check out this slot car channel.